Hello, this is Finny,
This is Connor.
and this is our presentation called Listening Through Time and Exploration of Age-Related Auditory Decline.
So a little bit about our project. We're conducting an experiment testing the hypothesis that as humans age, their ability to hear higher frequencies decreases. And we came up with this claim because Finny remembered doing this test with her parents and herself using a YouTube video with different frequencies.
Okay, background one. This article is called Aging and Hearing Loss, and it's written at the University of Miami, Florida by two different scholars. In this article, the authors discuss the connection between age and hearing loss, or what they call high tone hearing loss, HL. There are several factors that can contribute to hearing loss, such as genetics, disease, and external factors like exposure to loud noise. HL is a major public health problem, with more than 28 million individuals in the US having HL. In this article, the authors describe that the ability to hear high frequencies is affected by the exposure to loud noises throughout an individual's lifetime. However, they also indicate that hearing level is only weakly associated with age. They also suggest that age alone does not contribute to hearing loss and loss of ability to hear high frequencies, but rather that noise injury hearing loss increases as an individual ages due to environmental factors. Age-related asynchronous activity of the auditory nerve could account for age-related declines in temporal resolving abilities, which are sometimes interpreted caused by age-related changes in the properties of the auditory central nervous system. The authors suggest that age-related hearing loss and noise injury hearing loss are not distinct pathological entities, but rather overlapping phenotypes. Age-related hearing loss is the combination of deterioration of the systems in the ear as well as other factors such as external noise exposure that damages hearing over a length of time. And then this is a diagram of the ear that was in the article used by the authors.
So our second background is called Hearing Loss Mechanisms Revealed by Genetics and Cell Biology. This article discusses hereditary hearing loss and specific genes that are responsible for hearing ability. So it breaks down the anatomy of the ear. The ear is divided into three anatomical compartments: the outer, middle, and inner ear. The main role of the outer and middle ear is to process the sound waves from the environment into the inner ear. Hearing impairment, the most prevalent sensory disorder in humans, arises from a combination of genetic and environmental factors. Environmental factors like exposure to loud noises, trauma, infections, and certain medications contribute to HI, hearing impairment, alongside genetic mutations affecting the ear's development, structure, and function. Mutations in certain genes are linked to noise-induced hearing loss, increasing susceptibility to hearing damage from loud sounds. Hearing impairment classification is based on factors such as affected ear portions, age of onset, and accompanying symptoms. Most genetic mutations affecting the inner ear lead to sensorineural hearing impairment, while fewer cause middle ear conductive hearing impairment. Deafness genes are designated with prefixes like DFN, indicating inheritance patterns such as autosomal recessive, DFNB, autosomal dominant, DFNA, X-linked DFN, or mitochondrial. Some mutations are rare, like DFNA15 or POU4F3, while others, like DFNB1GB2, are widespread.
Okay, background three. Our next article is Younger Generation Safety, Hearing Loss, and Academic Performance Degradation Among College Student Headphone Users. In this article, the authors discuss the increased hearing loss among younger generations. They theorize that the use of headphones has increased the risk of hearing loss. Around 5.3% of the world's population suffers from hearing loss, and the authors used a sample population from Gen X, Y, and Z, which indicated that newer generations use headphones more than older generations. Their survey found that 70% of college students who use headphones experienced a ringing sound in their ear after headphone usage. Dr. Foy of the American Osteopathic Association reported in his article that hearing loss in teens is 30% higher than it was in the 1990s. Throughout this whole article, the authors discuss how the use of headphones and personal listening devices may be connected to why younger generations have higher rates of hearing loss compared to older generations. The constant noise exposure that results from headphone usage among youth is considered a valuable reason for why hearing loss is more prevalent. This article demonstrates that hearing loss is impacted by individuals' exposure to high levels of noise, and also shows that increase in headphone usage has led to a decrease in hearing ability. And then this is a graph that shows the population, or the use of headphones for the different generations.
So our research question was, do people's hearing ability decrease when they age? And our hypothesis was, as individuals age, there is a decline in their auditory perception, particularly when hearing higher frequencies, suggesting that older individuals experience a deterioration in their ability to hear higher frequencies.
Okay, methods. So here we have the step-by-step method to test our hypothesis. So first step, we gathered subjects of varying ages. And then second step, we tested the subjects in environments with identical conditions. And then we tested subjects on the same day, if not possible, then the same week, which we had to end up doing. And then we played a hearing test from YouTube, which is linked in the bibliography, with the same speaker at the same volume, and instructed the test subject to indicate when they can no longer hear the frequencies. And then we watched the hearing test as the subject indicated that they can no longer hear, recording their stated hertz and recording the hertz at the time of their reaction to it. We recorded the results of the testing, measured in hertz compared to age, and then we put the highest level of frequency heard for each subject into Excel spreadsheet alongside their age, and then for our actual graph we used the average of the 3 trials. And then we compared the results of the data of the 2 groups, knowing that the variation in hertz between knowing the variation in hertz between the age groups to see the correlation between age and ability to hear high frequencies.
We will have a sample size of 10 people. Our 2 confounding variables we are considering are environment and reaction time when indicating the subject cannot hear the frequencies from the video that's playing. We will control these variables by having our subjects listen to the video in an area with similar noise levels, most likely a quiet dorm room or lounge. And we will aim to play the video in a room with no other distractions or people. To account for reaction time, we will have subjects put thumbs up as soon as they stop hearing the frequencies, and we will record the exact moment they stopped hearing by pausing the video when they give us a thumbs up.
Okay, so this is our data table. We had a range of subjects with different ages, the lowest being 14, the highest being 57. And we did 3 trials for each, and then we averaged those trials to see like what the general highest level frequency they heard. And as they're pretty consistent, as you can see, mostly within the similar-ish ranges, but our graph will show that. So trial 1 indicated that there was a strong correlation between age and highest heard hertz, with the correlation being 0.859, which is very strong. And there's a slope of the trending line. And then
on our second trial, again, we have the frequencies on the y-axis and our ages on x. And again, our correlation coefficient is very close to 1, so the trend line accurately has a downward slope with age and hertz.
And then trial 3, it also shows similar patterns with a strong correlation coefficient of 8.93. Yeah, it generally shows the same pattern, and they all have a downward slope, so it's negative. And then this is the average of the 3 trials. So again, we have a downward trending line, which means it's like negative. And so we also have the correlation coefficient, which is 0.8688, which also indicates that there is a strong correlation between age and ability to hear high frequencies. Okay.
Yeah, so here are the results and conclusions we came to. Our graph represents the relationship between age and hearing ability. The x-axis is age measured in years. The y-axis is the average of the 3 trials' highest frequency measured in hertz. This number is averaged out of the 3 trials we conducted as to best represent our data. The graph's x-axis is increased by 10. The graph's y-axis increases by 2,000. Both axes start at 0. The R2 represents how strong the correlation is between age and frequencies heard. The R2 is 0.8688, which shows a strong correlation because it is close to 1. The correlation is negative because the graph trends downward as the x-axis value increases.
Okay, our original hypothesis was when people get older and their hearing gets worse, and we adjust it to as individuals age, there is a decline in their auditory perception, particularly when hearing higher frequencies, suggesting that older individuals experience a deterioration in their ability to hear higher frequencies. And our data that we collected supports our hypothesis. It suggests that as people get older, their hearing ability or ability to hear high frequencies decreases, which aligns with our original hypothesis and is shown in our data and graphs.
Here's some things we might do differently next time. There is a lot of variation for the hertz heard by a person in 3 different trials. We could use a different scale of measuring, possibly. We could have gotten a larger sample pool, a sample pool with greater age differences, and use an easier scale for how well someone can or can't hear, as opposed to just thumbs up and pausing the video.
Yeah, and then here's our bibliography with our 3 articles and the YouTube video down here that we used. And thank you for your time. That's our presentation.